Welcome to my studio. I just wanted to show you my current work desk. I'm actually in the process of a really prolonged renovation, so this is kind of a makeshift studio desk for a project that I'm doing right now, and I wanted to share with you some of the processes. So for the project that I'm doing right now, I've been distilling microplastics from my body, specifically from my breast milk. In 2022, I found this amazing paper that showed that breast milk from mothers contained microplastics, which was incredibly devastating because at the time I was spending all this time and energy breastfeeding and pumping. And for me, it was very physically painful and took a lot out of me. And then when I read about the microplastics, it was so devastating. Of course, now we have found microplastics in everything from blood to saliva to urine. It's just pervasively everywhere. But at the time, I was specifically interested in the microplastics in our breast milk because I'm thinking a lot about, all the ways that we regulate reproductive bodies with uteruses, but the ways that we don't regulate pollution from big companies and corporations. So this is a work in progress and I'm still thinking through it, but I've kind of cobbled together all of my supplies with grants and collaborations with amazing scientists at Rockefeller University, including Jen Bond. And I wanted to show how artists can also use unconventional equipment at home to do interesting things. I just wanted to walk you through my lab space, my temporary lab space where I'm conducting a project. At the moment, I'm doing a project where I'm distilling microplastics from my own body. And I'll just walk you through this kind of DIY citizen science lab. Just a little overview. This is my computer station where I do a lot of the research and grant writing. I also paint here. I've been doing a lot of watercolor painting. This is the stand. And so the process behind distilling microplastics mostly involves first putting on the safety equipment, of course, gloves and goggles, and then transferring specific amounts of liquids, which can be done with a pipette, which looks like this, and these are the pipette tips over there. And then the sample, in my case, breast milk, is pipetted into test tubes, which are here, and they're labeled. These are old test tubes that I've already used. And then after the sample is pipetted into the test tube, we basically need to use something to digest the organic compounds, like all of the sugars, the fat, the proteins. And so what I use is KOH, potassium hydroxide, which I make with a powder and distilled water. And so this is a gram scale to make it really nice and precise. And then it's incubated. I actually don't have my egg incubator. I'll be sharing a photo of it. It's incubated at a specific temperature and agitated at equal increments. And then the whole sample is filtered through this flask filter. And so basically I'm using a glass filter that has a specific, this is the glass filters. I'll open it up so you can see. The pore size is a specific diameter. And then the sample so the filter gets put in there, and then the sample gets poured in here, and then a vacuum pulls the sample down. And then afterwards, the filter disc is dried, and then we can look at it under the microscope. And you can see here one of the samples that I've distilled, and you can see what appears to be a microplastic. In fact, it's blue. And I'm in the process of collaborating with scientists to use different lab tools such as spectroscopy to figure out what type of plastic that is. So for instance, is it polyethylene? Is it polyvinyl chloride? And this is from a paper that does just this, distills microplastics from breast milk, and you use Raman spectroscopy to analyze the samples. And so after all of the lab work comes the hard part, which is actually making the art, to think about the kind of emotional and ethical and cultural and existential implications of finding microplastics in your body. So this is kind of my setup, and I've been running, at this point, almost 100 samples through it. So this is just one part of the process, right? Like first the kind of laboratory work, the exploration, the collaboration, and then comes the hard part of actually making the art. Like, how do you tell the story in a kind of like mindful way that doesn't spread panic? Like, what type of systemic change can we actually achieve through knowledge? These are the things that I'm kind of working out right now.
Thanks for checking out this Geek Shorts episode. This is just one of 10 chapters featuring the speaker's artwork, artistic practice, and direct conversations with the community. The full-length video, only publicly available for a limited time, can be found in the GEEX Talks subscriber archive, where you can also discover hours of content on even more contemporary glass artists and researchers. As a BIPOC and artist-led organization, GEEX redefines the culture of contemporary glass by canonizing artists and thinkers who have been historically marginalized in the field. If you'd like to support this effort, subscribe to GEEX and gain access to exclusive content. For more info, visit geeks.glass/support. Thanks to this episode's sponsors, listed on screen and in the video description below.